afternoon. It's February the 12th, and we've got a nice sunny day here. We're going to get the next week up around the 50s and nice and sunny. And I got out here in my planter box where we had our giant Marconis planted last year. If you're following this channel, you can go back through the playlist and see the peppers that we planted here last year. And we're going to rotate and put them on the other side of the house. Here's actually the giant Marconi peppers that I pulled up. These were the plants. I left them in the ground to keep that root structure in the ground, to keep the soil from getting so compacted. And you know, today we had frost this morning and it was 24 degrees, but now it's nice and sunny and getting close to 60. I have all the stuff out here setting out again. I'll do this for the next few weeks until it's time to get started with planting some of this stuff. Lord willing, we're able to get some stuff out in March. But these are where we're going to do our potatoes this year. So I pulled up these giant Marconi remnants, the stalks and the roots, and then I had about 4 inches of leaves on the top of this bed and some grass clippings that were composting down from last year. I laid some old chain link fence over the top of the leaves and the grass to keep the winter winds from blowing it away, and it's, for the most part, it held up pretty good. There's all the cages and stuff I had laying on top of the fence so the winds wouldn't blow it away. So I got out here this morning and dug up those giant Marconis, and the ground I thought would be still frozen was actually as deep as I could stick that shovel. It was already thawed out. My planter boxes, raised bed, now that one's nice and warm because I put the shower panel on it, and it's been on there. I put it on about 3 weeks ago, let it rain real good, and then covered it up, and it's real nice and warm. I've got a few that was still frozen on top this morning, but about the first 2 inches of soil was frozen, and then after that it was nice soil to work. But I turned in the leaves and the grass clippings, and I had several bags of this composted mulch that we got last year that I left in the bags and set out here by my building, tied up real nice and tight, and it's almost broken down to a nice usable soil amendment. And I laid about 3 inches on top of each mound here, and I turned that in. And while I was doing it, I use organic fertilizers, and so I went ahead and added some sulfur to each row, some bone meal to each row, and some tomato and vegetable fertilizer, all organic, to each row for the potatoes. And what that'll do, I went ahead and got it in the ground now because it's going to take several weeks for that stuff to break down and become available to the plants when they start growing. So, and once it starts getting warmed up, it'll break down faster. The microbes in the soil will break down your organic fertilizers a lot quicker. So this plastic here, this row right here, is where I'm going to plant my onions, and I've already amended it a few weeks back with some blood meal and some worm castings and some wood ash. And same with that bed right there. That's mostly potting mix in there. That's where my onions are going to go too. And these buckets, we're going to get some potatoes in these buckets here in the next 2 weeks. And if I start them in the buckets, then I can set them in the sun during the day and carry them up on the porch if we're going to get some freezing weather. So I'm going to try to get my potatoes, start putting them in the ground around March. Last year we did it the middle of March. I'm going to try to get 2 weeks earlier this year by covering this ground. I've got it all worked and turned in. I'm going to lay the plastic over it. We're going to get 40s and 50s the rest of the week, which will warm it up even more. I think we're going to get rains one day, so I'll take the plastic off and let it rain down in there real good and get everything breaking down and working. And then when we go to plant the potatoes here in a couple of weeks, Lord willing, the weather holds out, we'll just dig our trenches and put our Yukon Golds in the ground here We had them on the other side of the house last year, but you're supposed to rotate your potatoes. I'm limited on space here on our little lot, but we're going to try to put the potatoes here this year and the Marconis on the other side. So just a beautiful day, beautiful week this week, unheard of weather for this time of year. So we've got our vegetable plants already sitting outside. We've got our buckets that we're going to start some of these seed potatoes, since I've got so many left over from last year sprouting out. I'm going to go ahead and get a jump on those, and hopefully, Lord willing, within 2, maybe 3 weeks at the latest, we can get these Yukon Golds in the ground, and we'll bring you guys back for that video. So just a little gardening video this morning. I'm tired of sitting in the house. I got everything sprouted out that I can right now. When I get this stuff planted, then I can get going on other things and plant them inside. But this is how we're going to do our potatoes this year, and hopefully with any luck we'll have a good harvest. I'll keep you updated on this, and when we get ready to plant these guys, we'll make another video on how we do it. Thanks for watching.